Everyone, take their seats, please. The show is starting. It's been absolutely wonderful, especially you guys in the middle and at the back. And the sides, and everywhere really. Keep your eye on the counter. So make sure you're seated. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 2017 eSport MotoGP Championship. 4 months ago, we began challenging 15,000 gamers around the world with a chance to come here to the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia to fight it out on this very stage for some amazing prizes and to be crowned the World eSport Champion.
And we really have an international field out there this evening, from as far afield as South Africa to a little bit closer to home here in Spain. But they've all had to make it here the exact same way. Earlier this year, there was a series of 6 online time trial challenges that saw the best international gamers go head-to-head. But tonight, they meet in person for the first time. We've also, throughout the year, really enjoyed bringing our eSport Championship to the public. At some of our previous Grand Prix, our eSport Gaming Zone has been on site. And as you're about to find out now, it got a little bit competitive.
Muy bueno. The game is perfect.
The game is so real. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. My name is Ben Kostenjuris, and you'll be aware of Amy Durgan working in the MotoGP paddock. The competition to get here has been absolutely fierce, as we've said. 6 different challenges, and it kicked off at the circuit of Jerez, needing the fastest time using Marc Marquez's bike. 2 were able to qualify to get through into this final from that challenge. Then, a couple of weeks later, it was the Red Bull Ring and Paul Espargaro's KTM. 2 qualified from that. We then kind of caught up with the MotoGP season, and so ran events alongside real-life events at Great Britain, Misano, Aragon, and Australia. And 3 qualified from each of those events to get here the 16 finalists. And I tell you what, they are so good at this game. It is absolutely amazing. So, from 15,000 people around the world, we have just 16 here for you tonight to fight it out in semi-finals and then the finals.
Well, here's what's coming up over the next couple of hours. There will be 2 semi-final races. The top 4 from each group will go through to the qualifying stage, a 10-minute session that will determine the 8-man grid. Then we move on to our finals, 10 laps that will see the first ever MotoGP eSport World Champion crown. And with all that being said, I think it's about time we head down to our commentators tonight for the first time this evening. Steve Day, Tom Brooks, it's over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Amy. Welcome to the commentary box for the inaugural MotoGP eSport Grand Finale. Great to have your company. My name's Tom Brooks, and alongside me for this evening is Steve Day. Now, as we mentioned, we've got 16 finalists here this evening, but only 8 will remain for the grand final race this evening. Now, I hear you cry, well, how's that going to happen? First of all, before we talk about that, let's run you through the challenges. As was mentioned by Ben and Amy just a few moments ago, a summary of the challenges sees the likes of Matero and Pistol making it through from Challenge 1 on Marc Marquez's bike in Jerez. Challenge 2 on Paul Espargaro's KTM in Austria sees 2 Spaniards of Adrian_26 and Mandzukic making it through. Challenge 3, the only wet event of the Aprilia of Sam Lowes made it through. 3 riders there, Spanish, Italian and from the Netherlands. Challenge 4 at Misano on board Jorge Lorenzo's Ducati, a trio of Italians making it through. Challenge 5 at Aragon, we had a Spaniard, a South African rider and a British rider making it through. And then the final challenge, challenge number 6 at Phillip Island on Andrea Iannone's Suzuki, was a mixture of nationalities, 2 Spaniards and 1 Italian making it back through. So very, very exciting for the 16 finalists. And as we said, only 8 will remain. Sounds a bit confusing when you first look at it, but Steve, when we break it down, it's a lot more simple.
Yeah, 8 gamers at a time can play this one, and well, we had 16 finalists all playing here on stage yesterday, and they took part in free practice sessions. Now, their combined times have been taken. Riders that were ranked with the even numbers, so 2nd, 4th, 6th, etc., will go through into semi-final 2. Riders ranked 1, 3, 5, etc., will go through to semi-final 1. There you can see semi-final 1 on the left, including Mandzukic, who actually posted the fastest time overall in free practice with a 1:25.3. Now, 4 will qualify from each of those semi-finals, then we'll go into qualifying, and then we go races. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm fascinated by this one, Tom, because I've never really seen much eSport. We've had a go on this game ourselves. We're useless. I'm about 4 seconds off the pace, so I'm not going to qualify for a BMW at the end of this one.
No, absolutely not. That's why we're here commentating as opposed to racing on the game. So as Steve said, we had free practice yesterday. Then we split the guys up into groups. Then we had qualifying. So the grids are already decided for the semi-finals in the form of semi-final number 1, which comprises of Group A, and semi-final number 2, which comprises of Group B. 8 riders, of course, for each, and the top 4 will make it through, as we've said. So a very simple way of working it out. But meanwhile, the finalists have actually been in Valencia since Tuesday. So let's take a look back, shall we, and see exactly what they have been up to over the course of the last 72 hours here in Spain.
And for some, it's the first time out of their home country.
Can you believe it?
Absolutely amazing.
Well, with all that being said, guys, it's almost time to get ready for your first race of the evening. Enjoy it. Good luck. And Steve and Tom, it's over to you.
Thank you very much there, Amy. So welcome back to the commentary box. Now, semi-final number one, comprised of the qualifiers from Group A. Well, a very, very interesting affair and some very quick lap times. The Spaniard Mandzukic is on pole position for this one. He set a fastest lap of a 1 minute 25.320 there, Steve. Qualifying an incredibly close affair. Both riders separated by just a few tenths of a second.
Yeah, qualifying absolutely crucial for them. They'll go out there. There will be a 10-lap race for these guys, so they're getting themselves prepared. Worth pointing out at this stage also, Tom, that despite the fact that you will see different manufacturers and different bikes and liveries, they are all on exactly the same machinery.
Absolutely, yeah. Identical bikes underneath, just different liveries on top of them. So the likes of Mandzukic, who qualified on pole position, he's representing Movistar Yamaha here. The guy who is in second position, Luigi 48GP, who we saw just a few moments ago, is on board a Suzuki. Timothy McGarden on the outside of the front row on board a Suzuki as well. Row number 2 is headed by Vindex 813, who is on a factory Ducati, and alongside him is Adrian_26 on the Tech 3 Yamaha. And on the back of row number 2, it's Kyron DL49 on board the Aspar Ducati. Bit of a left field choice there compared to the popular choices we've had so far. Then towards the final row of the grid, the Reali Vintia Ducati is occupied by the Fujia, and Rick_MotoGP_35 is on board the Repsol Honda. So you can see there the grid. Mandzukic is on pole position. He hails from Spain. And as we said, alongside him is the Italian Luigi 48GP with Timothy McGarden on the outside of the front row. So 3 different nationalities there, Steve, occupying the top 3.
Yep, we're ready to go. Number 2 there, Mandzukic on pole position on that Yamaha. Just next to him, number 48, it's Luigi. Now, these guys have been going very well in the build-up to this weekend. Both of them incredibly fast. And we're really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, as the lights go out, it's Luigi 48GP who gets the initial getaway. What will Timothy McGarden, who's on the inside, be able to do? He slots himself up the inside and into the lead of the race. Keep an eye out for Mandzukic, though, who slots it straight back on corner exit. As we look at the helicam heading down towards turn number 2, it's Mandzukic with the advantage then. Timothy McGarden slots into second place, now ahead of Luigi.
Now, important to remember that 4 riders will qualify. The top 4 will go through, so it's a game of tactics here. You don't want to throw caution to the wind and do anything too silly. If you're out leading, keep yourself nice and smooth, because you want to ideally get yourself into the final. And Mandzukic with a perfect start ahead of Timothy McGarden, number 61, our competitor hailing from Germany.
Disappointing start for Vindex there, Steve, as well. He started in 4th place and is down to 6th position. Just 10 laps for these riders. It does go by very quickly. You can now see on the left and the right sides of your screen the players competing on board their machines. It's a very static shot there. They are concentrating and they are very focused indeed.
3rd place there, you can see the Pull and Bear Aspar colours. That is number 49, Kyron, coming all the way from South Africa to compete here in the eSports semi-final. He's got a really good start here, up into 3rd place, but it's still Mandzukic, who is, of course, remember, fastest through the free practice, who leads this one.
Fastest in qualifying as well, started of course on pole position on board that Movistar Yamaha, and now leading the way as we come over to complete the first lap out of 10 here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Everybody doing a very nice job at the moment, not seeing too much defensive riding in the early stages. At the moment it's Adrian_26, the guy we're looking at here on board the Monster Yamaha Tech 3 machine, who's got it all to do because he's got Luigi 48GP behind him and nearly ahead of him, and indeed getting ahead as we go into turn number 2. Will he be able to hold it into turn 3, Luigi? Well, it's going to be very close between them, and he does get up into 4th place. So as it stands at the moment, Steve, Luigi back into the final.
Yeah, number 48 there, up into 4th place, and you're looking at him now. He's just enjoying a great battle there with number 62, Adrian_26. Worth pointing out here as well that Adrian, number 62 there, is brother with Mandzukic. Interesting dynamic. I'm sure they both want to try and get themselves through to the final. So far, I have to say, this has all been very cautious. It was, but it's not anymore. That's Luigi GP who's gone down. Number 48. Now, he has got some serious speed. He's now got it all to do to try and catch up with the top 4.
Absolutely, yeah. Lap 2 out of 10. Fortunate for him, it's in the early stages and the field was all bunched up. However, he is going to lose more time because of that, but he will have a long time to be able to recover the time that he has lost, which is fortunate for him. Somebody who doesn't have problems, though, is Mandzukic. look at the way he is romping away from the field there, Steve. He's put quite a bit of daylight between himself and Timothy McGarden, a good few tenths of a second there.
They make this game look so easy, and it's really not. The Valencia circuit here is tight and twisty. There are circuit limits as well. You see it in real life, you see it here as well. They have to stay within track limits, otherwise they will be getting warnings from race direction about exceeding track limits. As we see there, Timothy McGarden still in second place. Kyron doing a great job there in third, and now coming under attack from Adrian, number 62 in fourth. As a result of Luigi's crash earlier, Vindex is now up into fifth place, the number 18.
The thing that's going to be interesting here as well is, are the riders going to start battling with each other? We can see Adrian on the number 62 Tectoire machine, who was having a bit of a battle. Meanwhile, Kyron gets up the inside of Timothy, so that's a change of position there. But all the while these guys are battling, the likes of Vindex, Rick and the Fugia are all going to be closing up corner by corner.
Yeah, well, Mandzukic, the race leader there, if he just keeps it smooth, he's absolutely sorted. It's these guys battling for second that's interesting, because Vindex is there ready to pick it up, and already there's a bit of squabbling going on here, and this just lights up the eyes of those behind, because they're all trying to get into the top four. It's getting a bit messy here, Tom.
And exactly as you said that, Steve, Vindex went up the inside of Kyron, and now he's got 3 positions in the space of 2 corners. Take a bow. That was an absolutely brilliant bit of riding there from Vindex, from 4th into 2nd place. I'd love to see a replay of that one, because that was incredible.
Absolutely great move there then from Vindex to go up into 2nd place, having been all the way back in 5th. Now, because these guys have been scrapping, the rider we saw falling earlier, keep an eye on at the back of the pack there as they make their way onto the start-finish straight, the Suzuki of Luigi GP, because he is closing in.
Indeed, you can see Luigi there on the left-hand corner of the screen, second from the top. He's the Italian rider, 18 years of age he is. He's doing a great job of reading in that gap, but back at the front, the battle's still going on. Kyron Dio, a big wobble, but down goes Vindex, I'm afraid to say. He goes from 4th position down to last. All his hard work there, Steve, undone in the space of a few metres.
I've got a really bad feeling he's not going to be the last rider that goes down here. These competitors are really getting scrappy now. There is Adrian. He's now up to 2nd place. We've got brothers 1 and 2 as it stands, as Kyron makes an aggressive move up the inside there. A brilliant move there from the South African, number 49.
Yeah, hails from Pretoria does Kyron. Absolutely brilliant stuff he's doing on board that Aspar Ducati. Meanwhile, Timothy McGarden goes a bit deep there into the hairpin, the left-hander, but he manages to get a great exit and surpass Adrian's on the 62, as well as Rick MotoGP 35 also coming into play there. A warning, meanwhile, as we ride on board with Kyron.
Yeah, he just went out of track limits, did Kyron. You can get away with that a few times, but not too much. This is really closing up. It's brilliant stuff. Vindex, who crashed a moment ago, is just at the back of this group. But look who's making progress. Luigi 48 GP is now up into 5th or 6th place, as we saw an aggressive move there on the grass. Lucky to stay upright there was German competitor Timothy McGarden.
And that's allowed Rick MotoGP 35 into 3rd position. So the Repsol Honda rider from Britain has had all of his Christmases come at once as he goes into 3rd place. He's in with a chance of the final if it stays as it is, but the people behind, Adrian 26, Luigi as well, who are making ground, are going to be trying to close that. Meanwhile, here comes Timothy up the inside of Rick into turn number 2. He runs it hot. Will that allow Rick to get the exit? Indeed it does. Brilliant overhead shots here on the MotoGP 17 game.
We shouldn't forget at this particular moment, as we're watching this melee and the drama for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, that Mandzukic is absolutely running away with this at the moment. He is 2.3 seconds ahead, the number 2. The competitor from Spain, brother of Adrian. Both of them are absolutely doing great at the moment, but Mandzukic is 2.5 seconds clear.
Exactly right, that's Steve. We had a bit of contact there is what we've had between Timothy McGarden and the Fuji, who's making some aggressive moves on that Avintia Ducati. So Timothy McGarden goes from a spot in the final all the way down into 7th place on board that X-Star Suzuki. So the German rider is going to have all of that work to do. He qualified, did the German rider of Timothy McGarden in the last final of the Iannone battle, so he's familiar with the Suzuki bike. Meanwhile, here we go on board with the Fugia on board the Reale Avintia racing machine. So the Fugia in 7th place, Vindex just behind. We haven't seen much progress, but a warning there for the Fugia, Steve.
Yeah, the Fugia there, just you could see that he went off track limits, so that's probably understandable. Here is Mandzukic then, the winner, currently I say the winner before he's even got there. I don't want to count his chickens just yet, but Mandzukic, who hails from the Canary Islands, completely in control. Says his favourite rider is Dani Pedrosa, and I'm sure Dani Pedrosa would be very proud of him at the moment. Absolutely flying. Second place here for Kyron. This is great stuff from the South African, who qualified 15th.
I know, it's brilliant stuff from Kyron, as you say. He was way down the order on the second row, of the outside of the second row of the grid, in 6th position for the start of semi-final number 1, and he qualified back in Aragon on Valentino Rossi's Yamaha, so he's looking very comfortable out there. Is the 23-year-old, hails from Pretoria. He's an entrepreneur as well, Steve. He owns his own business, so maybe that sensible head is playing dividends.
Yeah, well, he's probably got his business head on at the moment and thinking about a BMW, as we see a lovely move there from Luigi on that Suzuki, having fallen earlier, but he just has to be forced out of it again. Rick, MotoGP, number 56, Repsol Honda colours there, going really, really well. He, of course, hails from Derby, 24-year-old. It's getting a bit close, this. Still Mandzukic leads, 2.7 seconds clear now as we head onto the start-finish straight to tick off another lap.
Yeah, now on the latter half of the race, just 3 tours remaining of this Valencia circuit. Luigi 48 GP, what a performance he's done. He gets a slipstream on Rick MotoGP 35. He gets a bit too close for comfort into turn 1. Will he get a good exit, Luigi? He's going to draw alongside the Repsol Honda, and as we go down into turn 2, he's already ahead before the braking zone there, Steve. Beautiful bit of riding there from Luigi. We knew he had the pace, and he's really put that to perfection.
Yeah, just nudging wide the number 56. It's sad because 56 is going to get a bit of a penalty for that, or a warning at least, but it wasn't really his fault. Here is your race leader then, Mandzukic, home and dry, really smooth, not putting a foot wrong. Really got control of this game at the moment, not seen him make a single mistake. A brilliant start, and so far a brilliant ride.
Absolutely perfect as we go into the left hand. A very big bump on braking in that left-handed kink. It really does dip down. Mind you, this circuit, it doesn't look like it elevates much on the shots that we're seeing, but if you have a look at the track on the onboard shots from the motorcycles, you can really get an idea of the undulations of the circuit, especially into that final corner. We've seen during the free practice sessions on Thursday, Steve, it's so easy to drop the front end into one of those corners.
It really is, but it doesn't look like Mandzukic is going to do it. There's an incident between riders 18 and 49 currently under investigation. They are currently riders in 2nd and 7th, so that could play quite a big part in the end result. We now come across the line to tick off another lap. It's really important to keep an eye on who's going to be 2nd, 3rd and 4th here. We've talked about tactics before, but sometimes you've got to be a bit careful to engage in battle. If you're in 2nd place and you can hold it, just stay there. Don't make any errors. You're going to be through to the final. Looks like, though, Mandzukic is going to be our first finalist here.
I was going to say, somebody who doesn't have to worry about tactics is Mandzukic. I'm so impressed with Kyron as well. He's not really shown the pace that he'll be running up the front in the race, but he's really benefited from everybody else's misfortune. Kept a level head, kept it calm, kept it cool, and completely by his own skill and his own determination is up there in 2nd place with a spot in the final. But the man breathing down his neck, or will be, I'm sure, in over a lap's time, will be Luigi 48 GP. So the Suzuki X-Star rider on board the number 48 is Suzuki's in the final at the moment, with Luigi and Timothy occupying those positions. Unfortunate to say that Rick MotoGP 35 from Derby, the 24-year-old, is currently out of the final at the moment. But anything can happen there, Steve, in racing. There's just over 1.5 laps to go, and it could get very interesting.
Yeah, Mandzukic leads then, still 2.7 seconds. The battle you're looking at here is number 49, Kyron, and number 48 here is Luigi, 18-year-old from Italy, hails from Naples, trying to get himself into this final. I think there might be 1 or 2 competitors that have not been showing their cards in the build-up to this, when we've seen them in qualifying.
I think you could be quite right there, Steve, and I have to stress as well that don't forget this result doesn't decide the grid for the final. There is a separate qualifying session that we will have, a 10-minute session before the grand final race later on this evening. So keep an eye out for that. So wherever they finish, as long as they finish inside the top 4, it doesn't matter. They will make it through, and then they will have a chance to set a better lap time. But we know how competitive these riders are, Steve, and if they feel they're faster, if they feel they can get through like Luigi does here on Kyron, I'm sure he'll be thinking about a move before too long.
Yeah, well, the move has to be clean, Tom, because they're 2nd and 3rd at the moment, and the pair of them would just both go through. But if they engage in battle, and let's say one of them knocks the other off, then they're going to be out. This is really important now, because we're getting to the closing stages. If you crash now, it's all over.
Here comes Luigi going up the inside. He had a little bit of a sneaky look there, tried to dip a wheel, couldn't quite manage it on that X-Star machine. This is brilliant stuff, but on corner exit, Luigi 48GP, what a bit of drive he got out of that corner, turn number 9. Absolutely stunning stuff, and he moves up into second position.
Now what does Kyron do on the white Aspar machine, number 49? Does he stick or twist? He twists. An absolutely brilliant move there from Kyron on the Ducati coloured machine. Didn't really care one iota that they're both already through to the final as it stands, and Luigi retaliates a brilliant move as well. We're about to start the final lap.
It's getting very hairy now. This could be a very interesting and crucial final lap. At the moment, the riders going through to the final. Mandzukic, Kyron, Luigi and Timothy. Will that be changing in the next 4.005 kilometres? Out of turn 1 we go. It's still Kyron in third place, followed by Timothy Magada, but Luigi in second place is really being harassed by the Aspar Ducati rider into the left-hander of turn 3. This is where Kyron is really strong. He's got a great front-end feel with that bike, and he looks like he's going to be all over the gearbox of that bike for the rest of it, and he's up the inside, Steve.
Brilliant stuff from Kyron. These guys don't need to squabble here. They don't need to do it. They're currently in the final, but they've just completely lost track of what's going on. They don't care. They want to finish second. There's no prizes here in the semi-final in terms of finishing second, third or fourth. You just get yourself through into qualifying.
Here comes Timothy McGarden as well. Kyron DL was on the curbs, on the brakes, and that does and a half upset the front end of the bike. And now he's coming under pressure from the other Suzuki X-Star machine. All they need to do is keep a level head. There's just under half a lap remaining here at the circuit. Ricardo Tormo for semi-final number 1. And at the moment, the top 4 that started the lap will finish the lap and go through to the final. But the man that Steve that has dominated this race from start to finish, look at the gap. He's got 3.1 seconds. Is coming out of the final corner, and he is going to take the checkered flag, even having time to pull a wheelie. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
Superb stuff from Mandzukic, but who's going to get second, third and fourth across the line? It's Luigi second, Timothy McGarden is third, and Kyron fourth. We have 4 different nationalities going through into the final. Brilliant stuff there. Spain prevails on this occasion.
Certainly does. What an absolutely brilliant race. Don't forget, though, we do have that incident that's under investigation as well from Kyron and Adrian at 26. Actually, an update here. Let's have a look. Provisional race results under review by Race Direction there, Steve. So we could potentially see a change in the running order. Kyron DL is the rider who made it through, the last rider to make it through to the final, and we could potentially see something changing from Race Direction.
Yeah, we just need to keep an eye on that because Kyron was the competitor involved, as well as, was it Vindex?
It was Vindex, yes.
So they were 4th and 5th, so it's absolutely crucial when we get the eventual result. Just something whilst we're talking and the decisions are being made by Race Direction, just worth pointing out, Tom, if you look at the race results there, the fastest lap of the race actually went to second place Luigi 48GP.
The red mist had certainly descended by then, hadn't it? Brilliant stuff from Luigi. What a recovery from the Italian rider. 18 years old, and he is showing mature racing craft and absolutely brilliant stuff. It was a phenomenal recovery, phenomenal race from him.
It really was, yeah, and as you can just see there, provisional race results they're still under review at the moment. We've still not got any guarantee on that. What we can be sure of course, is that Mandzukic is definitely going through. So this is the incident that we're looking at, and they are keeping an eye on.
So Kyron on the inside, and Mandzukic, I apologise, Vindex was the rider who got caught out in that. Here we see from the third-person view. Let's have a look at the incident then. So was it Kyron that went into the side of Timothy, or did... too close to call that, isn't it? Personally, I would go for that as a racing incident.
Well, I'm not Race Direction, but I'd probably be on side with you there. We won't get ourselves in trouble by calling that one, but we will find out shortly exactly what the race results are. Sometimes in instances like this, it happens. It happens in real racing, and it obviously happens in esports as well.
Certainly does. So what did we learn from that race then, Steve? Well, if nothing else, we learned that Mandzukic has got the pace to absolutely romp away with the race. Will that be the same though in semi-final 2? We know the guys are quick in there. We know how quick they were over the course of a race distance in practice as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to repeat that feat in the grand final.
Well, he didn't have any trouble, did he? I mean, he didn't even need any racecraft, Mandzukic, because he wasn't troubled. He qualified on pole position. He made a great start into turn 1. There was all sorts of drama going on further behind, and Mandzukic He might as well have got a cigar on the go by the end of that one. It was absolutely brilliant.
Let's have a look at some highlights then from the race, shall we, for semi-final number 1 here at the MotoGP eSport Championship. Well, it was Mandzukic on pole position. As the lights went out, though, it was Luigi 48GP and Timothy McGarden on the inside who managed to get better starts. And as they went down towards turn 1, it looked like Luigi would have the whole shot. However, a crafty bit of riding there from Mandzukic, taking the inside line. He got the lead back in the space of a few metres, where he would stay until the end of the race. Meanwhile, further down, there was lots and lots of overtaking taking place. Kyron DL looked like he was out of the running for quite a while until this incident occurred. There was lots of argy-bargy there, Steve. It got very close for comfort.
Yeah, that was the moment that Vindex made up about 2 or 3 places in one go. Here comes the incident then. So unfortunate there for Vindex, and unfortunately it looks like at the moment it could have cost him. They're still looking at this one. It's not been decided just yet as we look through the rest of the highlights.
Here's Luigi 48GP. We're on board with the Spaniard, making a brilliant ride there in 4th position. Here's Mandzukic, though. Well, he wasn't troubled. As you can see, we're on lap 7 out of 10, the latter half of the race. So a brilliant ride it was from him over the timeline again. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen on the graphic there, he had a 3-second advantage, which he held until the end of the race. But further down was where it all got interesting between Kyron DL, Luigi 48GP, Timothy McGarden, as well as Rick, MotoGP 35. We'll come on to that in just a moment. Meanwhile, let's come back to this. Kyron DL getting done over by Luigi 48GP on the penultimate lap of the race. A brilliant recovery from the 18-year-old Italian. Kyron DL, though, didn't take it lying down into the quick right-hander. He said, thank you very much. I'll have a nice position back there. And he did, but didn't manage to hold it for too long. But the man that absolutely dominated that race, without question, was the Spaniard Mandzukic. Over the timeline he came to take the checkered flag in semi-final number 1. And he automatically will, of course, progress, as will the entire top 4, into the grand finale.
Yeah, that was a really good race. 4 different nationalities there inside the top 4 as well. Kyron, who qualified all the way down in 15th, was really impressive because they didn't see that coming in the build-up and in all the sessions that we've been watching. So a brilliant ride for South Africa. At the moment, of course, it's him that's in question. We've got the race results here, and now it is officially confirmed. No further action taken by the looks of things. Kyron will be going through to the final.
He certainly will. So Kyron will make it through to the grand final. Brilliant stuff there from the South African. A shame for Vindex, a shame for Adrian 26, a shame for the Fujia, and a shame for Rick MotoGP 35. Big disappointment there for those riders, but nonetheless, they're all winners for making it here into the MotoGP eSport final event. Brilliant stuff from all involved. And I have to say one person who I was incredibly impressed with, Steve, Rick MotoGP 35. Well, he wasn't really anywhere in qualifying, but he did an absolutely superb job in the race.
Yes, some real interesting results that were going on there. And of course, we've got semi-final 2 to look forward to in a moment as well.
Yes, we have indeed. So here we go then. Let's have a look at the graphic. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen, semi-final number 1, and in the middle, those are the riders that are making it through to semi-final 2. Mandzukic, Luigi 48GP, Timothy McGarden, and Kyron DL. So 4 different nationalities into the grand final there, Steve. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
Yep, Spain, Italy, Germany, and South Africa all making it through to the final. They will be going into qualifying to decide the grid a little bit later on. Semi-final 2 still to come, and we're really excited about that. Don't forget that the times were taken, so we're still going to see some riders in that next semi-final that are easily capable of winning this overall. It's time to throw back over to Amy and Ben.
Steve, thank you very much. It's been an absolutely fantastic first semi-final. The atmosphere backstage with the other 8 finalists watching was wonderful to see. So much backing for each of the countrymen and paper being thrown around from the passionate Italians. Really, really good stuff. And I know in front of us, the audience also really enjoyed semi-final 1. Semi-final 2 promises to deliver just the same coming up for you in a few moments' time.
It was absolutely fantastic stuff. Well, earlier we showed you what happened when we let the public loose on the MotoGP video game. But here's what happened when the entire field, and I do really mean the entire field of Red Bull MotoGP rookies were let loose in the eSport gaming zone.
so the competitive spirit runs deep wherever you look in the esports world, and even with guys who go out every weekend onto the racetrack and are beginning their road to MotoGP, and perhaps esports the new start.
Well, let's see. We are ready now for our second semi-final race of the evening. If you want to participate in the social conversation throughout the evening, use @MotoGP eSport. But Steve, Tom, it's back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Amy. So we had 16 finalists starting, and currently 12 remain. We've got 4 finalists going through to the grand finale later on this evening, and we've got semi-final number 2 to come up in just a few moments' time to pick the remaining 4 competitors that will make it through. Steve Day, what an exciting semi-final one we had. We've got a whole different bunch of competitors in semi-final 2. We can see them already getting into the zone there and concentrating, and it should be the same for semi-final number 2. We're very excited for this one.
Yeah, you see in Moto 3, Philip Ertel sometimes, don't you, motioning, going around the circuit. It looks like one or two of our contestants here are getting themselves prepared. You have to just remember here, as we look at a close-up, this is well worth pointing out, that's Ivan Gamer from Italy, 16-year-old from Naples, wearing gloves. That's a new one.
Yes, I heard the rumours, or I heard why, the reason why that is because of sweaty palms. When you get racing and you get competitive, of course, generally it can cause you to get sweaty hands, and that can cause you to slip your finger on the button. You could hit perhaps the gear up button instead of the rear brake or something like that, and it sounds like a silly reason when you think of it first, but it actually is a genuinely interesting way of going about it.
The nerves are jangling here, Tom, let's be honest. These guys have come through all of the qualifications, they've come through all the stages. They've been qualifying at home, or maybe they've turned up to a circuit. This is a bit of a different game. They're here at the final of the MotoGP World Championship on stage. There are millions of people watching, and the winners are going to take the trophy and a £50,000 BMW car away.
Yeah, there's not just pride up at stake here tonight, is there? That is for sure. So the man on the left-hand corner of your screen, Trastiviere 73, the Italian rider, he will start from pole position for semi-final number 2. You can see him there, just getting in the zone, looking like he's primed and ready. He'll be on board the Movistar Yamaha machine. Alongside him will be Paul_IG from Spain. He will be on the Tech Trois Yamaha machine. And on the outside of the front row is Ivan Gamer, who we saw just a few moments ago with the gloves on. He'll be on board the Red Bull KTM bike. On row number 2, it's Iotti Ferrossi on board the Aprilia. He hails from Italy. Matero_1, who we saw just a couple of moments ago, he is on board the factory Ducati. Jorge Gashek from Spain is on board the Pramac Ducati. Pistol_73, the oldest competitor here this evening, of 44 years of age, is on board the LCR Honda ridden by Cal Crutchlow, of course, in the World Championship. And Nierk is Nierk 5211 is on the Pramac Ducati. There he is, the Dutch rider, and he's looking primed and ready, and pretty calm and collected as well. And even gives you a wave. He said he wasn't going to do that to me the other day, so nice to see he's playing up to the cameras.
Yeah, well, everybody's got their different approach, haven't they? He looks very cool, calm and collected, doesn't he, Nierk, at the moment, ready for action. Have to say, a couple of the other competitors were looking a little bit nervy. I just saw there, getting a bit twitchy, was Trastiviere, the 18-year-old, who's a massive Valentino Rossi fan.
Interesting stuff. Well, it's going to be a very exciting semi-final number 2 with 8 competitors. Of course, as we know, only 4 will make it through. Exactly the same format as we had for semi-final number 1, we should stress as well. A 10-lap race, so 10 laps, of course, of the Circuit Ricardo Tormo track, and a very, very exciting and I'm sure close event is what it's going to be. There's Ivan Gamer, big deep breath for him, and he looks primed and ready to get this one underway.
Nearly took as big a breath as you did before semi-final 1 there, Tom. But yeah, the tension's rising. As we said before, this is just a completely different situation to what they've been used to during the qualifications. So they're really getting themselves excited. The game's loading. We are almost ready to start semi-final 2. Remember, same rules apply as semi-final 1. 4 competitors will go through to the final. They will then all qualify, and then we will bring you the final 8 to decide who will become the MotoGP eSport Championship Grand Champion.
Absolutely looking forward to that. We should stress as well, of course, all of these gamers have come across from the world. As we mentioned, we've had riders from South Africa, we've had riders from Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands as well, Great Britain, of course, and they all come from a variety of different backgrounds as well. But now it is time for semi-final number 2. So here is your grid. Trastevere, Paul IG, and Ivan Gamer on the front row. Iotti for Rossi, Matero 1, and Jorge Gacek on row 2. And then row number 3, Pistol_73 from Great Britain, and Eric on the Pramac Ducati from the Netherlands. So riders just on their warming up laps. It's time for another 10-lap race at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo here for the MotoGP eSport semi-final number 2. 4 riders will make it through. We'll find out who in 10 laps time. Let's get ready then for the lights to go out and we will get ready to go racing. Trastevere on pole position, but initial good getaway from Paul IG and Ivan Gamer on the front row of the grid. It looks like Paul is going to take the lead as we head down towards turn 1. They're drawing side by side and into the first corner we go. It's Paul now ahead of Ivan Gamer, now ahead of Trastevere as well. So Trastevere goes from first there, Steve, down to 4th position in the space of 1 corner.
Oh, really aggressive move there into first place from Matero 1, number 27 in the Ducati colours. As we look at him here, Paul IG immediately getting aggressive. This is far more shaky than the start we saw in semi-final 1. Iotti for Rossi on the Aprilia colours now going through as well.
Absolutely incredible stuff here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. The riders are battling hammer and tong. It's like a Moto3 race start, let alone a MotoGP race start. At the moment, it's Paul_IG that leads the way from Spain. Iotti for Rossi has managed to get himself up from 4th position into 2nd in the opening stages on board the Ducati, but running deep there. Was that Matero?
This isn't Moto3, this is Destruction Derby. Paul IG at the moment is your leader ahead of Iotti for Rossi there. Aprilia colours, of course, from Italy, 24-year-old, another big Rossi fan, trying to chase down the number 7 there, Paul IG from Bilbao.
Absolutely brilliant stuff, and it's only the opening lap out of 10 here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Trastevere has got all of it to do. You can see the gamers on the left and right sides of your screen. Trastevere, the man on pole position, now down in 4th place. The guy we're looking at on screen in the middle at the moment was Iotti for Rossi. Now it is Matero 1. He is on the right top corner of your screen, and looking very calm, looking very collected is the Spaniard on board that factory Ducati. He's up the inside of the Movistar Yamaha rider, and now he's ahead, but only for a few metres as he runs a bit hot into the corner. And now Trastevere is going to come back into the foray as well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Here we go then at the front. It is Paul IG, just like we saw from Mandzukic in race 1, starting to build a lead. They won't want to let him get away from them, but they're all bunched up nicely, aren't they? Iotti for Rossi there, just coming under a bit of a threat now from the rider that was on pole position, Trastevere, number 58. There is 27, Matero 1, just in 4th place, ahead of the KTM colours, number 90 of Ivan Gamer.
Well, we know, of course, that pace over the course of 1 lap does count, but in the race situation, it's incredibly different. Trastevere, meanwhile, is up into 2nd place now, ahead of Iotti for Rossi. You're looking at Matero_1. He is in the semi-final, into the grand final at the moment. He's in 4th place, the last of the available spots for the grand finale. He has got a bit of a gap, actually, to Ivan Gamer as well. So the glove's not paying dividends for the Italian at the moment there, Steve. And he's going to have a bit of ground to make up, but we know how quickly that can change.
10 laps around Valencia as well. On a game like this, it's a long time to keep your concentration up, and around Valencia you have to keep your concentration up. You make one mistake, you go slightly wide, and it really can cost you. At the moment, so far so good for Paul IG, who is your race leader. We're now riding on board with Iotti for Rossi, number 92, Aprilia colour scheme.
I had the pleasure of having a chance to chat to some of these gamers over the last couple of days during their time here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia, and some of them have been practicing for up to 8-9 hours a day. Others have been practicing just a couple of times a week. So interesting strategies. We talk about strategy a lot in MotoGP, Steve, and even on the MotoGP 17 video game, it still applies. Yeah, it does. Yeah, there's so many rules that still apply to the MotoGP game that are so similar to, of course, the MotoGP World Championship. There are, of course, some that aren't at all. Riding up the inside on the grass, I wouldn't suggest doing that on a MotoGP bike around the Valencia circuit. Well, no, but you never know. Marc Marquez might be having to do something similar on Sunday with regards to the World Championship battle. Speaking of Championship battles, Matero 1 is now out of the Grand Final. He has been demoted to 5th position at the hands of Ivan Gamer, who runs it hot into the right-hander of turn number 13. And now he is going to have to make that time again. So Matero is back in for the time being. Into the final corner we go. It's such a difficult turn, that Steve, turn 15. It's so hard on the front end, and we've seen in practice riders tumbling down the road at the final corner, pushing those limits, and it's easy to do so here.
Yeah, it's drama, isn't it? It's just a perfect final corner. Turn 13, wind the power on, and then hard on the brakes. We just saw on the start-finish straight there, Ivan Gamer in 5th place, trying to make his way through. We're now riding with Ivan Gamer, so Ivan, who we're with, currently in 5th. He needs to be up ahead of the number 27 that you're looking at there in the Ducati colours to try and get himself into the final. So at present, it looks like, Tom, we've got 5 competitors fighting for the 4 available places in the final.
Well, Ivan Gamer is actually the youngest competitor in the field as well. By star comparison of Pistol 73, the British rider who's sitting down in 8th place at 44 years of age. Ivan Gamer is just 16 years old. So the youngest rider that we have here, I think he only turned 16 just a few days ago as well, actually. So he was 15 when he qualified. He had to be 16 to make it here, so he was very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky indeed. A happy birthday. And, well, he's certainly going to try and celebrate it in style, although I fear he probably won't be quite old enough to drive the BMW away if he is to become the eventual winner. Things are closing up here now between all of the competitors. They've been reeling in. The race leader, Tom, Paul IG, is coming under threat. His lead is now down to under half a second, and in fact the top 5 are not really covered by an awful lot.
They certainly are not. No, Trastevere, they're really making headway. You can see as we look back and now go to the helicopter shot, he has really managed to bridge the gap quite significantly to Paul IG over the last couple of laps. Trastevere on the number 58 machine on board that Movistar Yamaha M1. Meanwhile, the man who is just inside the final at the moment, Matero 1 on board the factory Ducati, still being chased down and harassed by the man in 5th place of Ivan Gamer. Listen to the bike there. You can see how he was feathering the throttle through that corner to try and take a maximum speed. Of course, there's no tyre wear on, so they won't have to deal like they do, of course, in MotoGP with the tyre wear over the longevity of the race. So that's one beneficiary for them.
Up and around turn 6 they go, and then onto a really short back straight before heading around this left kink at turn 7. Hard to get your braking point right then into turn 8. Easy to lose the front there, especially on the game. Paul IG then, his lead is now down to under 0.4 of a second. You're looking there at number 90, Ivan Gamer. Remember, the contestant wearing gloves. At the moment, it's not paying off, but he's reeling him in. There's 5 laps to go. I don't know why you're laughing at me here, Tom.
I can't say. It's halfway stage then here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Matero. Ivan Gamer chasing him down, and some brilliant racing going on throughout the field. They're not too far adrift, as Steve just mentioned a couple of moments ago. And look at the defensive riding that Matero is holding now as well. He dove to the left-hand side of the track, our right, in order to try and break the slipstream of Ivan Gamer. It paid dividends because Ivan Gamer wasn't able to get ahead.
Just a reminder, they're all on exactly the same machinery. They're just colour schemes are different and the numbers. And slipstream does apply on the game, just as it would if you were actually out on circuit. So that's why you're seeing different competitors trying to break the toe, if you like.
And we know how important slipstream, of course, is in MotoGP. Just ask Andrea Dovizioso after Japan. So, some brilliant stuff here. At the moment, it's Matero, the number 27, who's doing a brilliant job. He was the first of the riders to get through in the qualifying events. He qualified on board Marc Marquez's Repsol Honda at Jerez. He's 24 years of age, hails from Spain, and is actually a baker as well, which is a very interesting career choice.
Well, if it doesn't work off here, maybe there's a career in baking, maybe the bake-off beckons. At the moment, this is all bunching up still. It's looking like Nierik, the Dutch competitor, just a bit out of touch at the moment. The top 5 are still all together. This is your race leader on lap 6 of 10. Paul IG, since getting to the front, he's monitored the race pretty well. He's managed it well. He's seen off the initial threats. It's Trastivieri, who made a bit of a mess of the start, who's in second place with Ioti for Rossi in third, number 92, and Matero Ducati still fourth.
Trastivieri from Rome in Italy, 18 years of age he is. We look at him now on board that number 58 Movistar Yamaha machine, a bit deep there as well from Ioti for Rossi. That is going to allow Matero through into third place and also drop him into the clutches of Ivan Gamer. So it's really closing up with just under 3 laps remaining here, Steve. It's going to be crunch time now.
Yeah, as it gets to the closing stages, you've got to believe there will be some rather interesting moves that are made, because one of these guys is going to lose out, and we nearly lost one there as Matero won almost tucked the front there in the number 27. Ivan Gamer now all over the back of Ioti for Rossi. These top 4 riders will go through. One of them's going to miss out. Ioti for Rossi now is starting to make a move, trying to make a challenge on Ivan Gamer.
This is brilliant racing between the Aprilia and the KTM rider. They're doing a fantastic job. And Ivan Gamer tried to go all the way, the long way, around the outside into turn number 9. That was incredibly brave indeed, but the positions are changing there, Steve, all the time.
Yeah, there's a change for the lead. Trastivieri has taken the lead. I wonder if Paul IG has made a mistake. Paul IG, Tech 3 colour scheme, number 7, has fallen down to second place. So maybe a few nerves as we get into the closing stages of this race.
Well, either way, if he sticks where he is, he'll still be able to hold on to a position in the final, of course. As we mentioned in semi-final 1, it doesn't matter where you finish. As long as you finish inside the top 4, you will have a chance to qualify in a 10-minute session for the grand finale. At the moment, Ioti for Rossi on board that factory Aprilia is currently not going to make it through. We ride on board with the Aprilia RS GP into the left-hander of turn number 3. The circuit really does dip away from you there, and he's losing touch to Ivan Gamer there. So Ivan looks like he was being held up there, Steve, and now he's trying to make a breakaway on that KTM.
Yeah, we now look at the KTM, back to the Aprilia colour scheme. Just got to try and keep it smooth now in the final stages. There'll definitely be a lunge or two going on. One of the top 5 here is going to be incredibly disappointed not to make it through to the final after this. It is still closing up though. There's still enough time. And we're now riding with Ioti for Rossi, number 92, as it stands, just out of contention.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. So into the latter stages of the race. Looks like Paul IG has got this race done and dusted if he stays where he is, but there is an incident being investigated by Race Direction. Riders 52, 31 and number 3. So that's Nierik. 31, of course, is Jorge Gashek, and number 3 is Pistol 73 under investigation. We haven't seen that, Steve, but even though they're out of the final, it could be a very interesting time in Race Direction.
Well, it could be, but if they're not going to be able to qualify for the final anyway, it doesn't really make much difference to what we're seeing. This does, though, at the front. Trastivieri, a brilliant move up the inside into turn 1. That's how you do that. Will run slightly wide, though, and now there's a chance for Paul IG to bite back into turn 2. But that's all neatly done. Slightly wide there, though, from Trastivieri. And here comes Paul again, and they touch.
Incredible stuff there. Side-by-side racing between the 2 Yamaha boys. They are leaving no holes barred. They don't need to be battling. They're both in with a chance of the final. But saying you're a race winner before the grand final would be a very nice accolade to behold. At the moment, it's Trastivieri, the Italian rider, 18 years old from Rome, followed by Paul IG, 26 years old from Bilbao in Spain.
This is like watching Rossi versus Zarco, isn't it, with the colour schemes that you're looking at the moment. This is the battle for first place then. They don't want to throw it up the road now. We are getting very close to the end of this race. A mistake or a crash now would mean curtains for your chances of getting through to the final. Number 58 leads, though, in these late stages. Trastivieri has the advantage from Paul IG, then Matero won. Ivan Gamer at the moment, number 90, still just about holding on. And Ioti for Rossi, Tom, with it all to do as we approach the final lap.
Certainly is. We look at the gamers on the left and right sides of your screen. Over the timing line we go with Trastivieri. All the while these guys are battling, though, it would potentially allow Matero, Ivan and Ioti for Rossi to close up. So if anything did happen to the top 2 on this final lap of the race, we could see a very significant change in the order. At the moment, Trastivieri has got enough of an advantage at the crucial passing place of turn number 2, Steve. He's holding on very nicely at the moment.
Yeah, you would say, wouldn't you, looking at the screens at the moment, that the top 4 all look pretty safe. But the trouble is, you just got to believe that someone's going to have a go at someone here. would EOT for Rossi, who's not close enough to make a move himself, benefit from a last-minute lunge?
Speaking of last-minute lunges there, Paul IG was closing very much on the apex. He was really looking to try and find a way past the Movistar Yamaha man. Meanwhile, third place, I should say, is looking like it's going to change hands. Matero and Ivan going head-to-head. This is all crucial. The top four looking like it's going to finish as it is because Ioni Ferrossi has really dropped off the back. He must have made a mistake somewhere, the Italian rider, and he has got quite a lot of ground to make up, as you can see there on the shots.
We're fast approaching the final sector here. They'll flick it left, change direction, and now the approach to the final corner. Do they all just stay where they are and make sure that they get a clean exit? Because this should be your top four, and it looks like it's going to stay that way, Tom.
Absolutely. Trastevere, the Italian rider, comes over the timing line on board the Movistar Yamaha machine. It was a drag to the line, and he managed to take the victory in semi-final 2 by just 0.2 of a second. Absolutely incredible stuff from Trastevere. Paul IG in second place and Ivan Gamer in third position. So 2 Italians on the rostrum, and the final man making it through to the grand final is Matero. 27 he was on board that factory Ducati livery machine, and he finishes inside the final. All the other riders unfortunately failing to make it through, but that was an incredible race, Steve.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Good battles at the front, especially on the opening lap. It was absolute carnage. Any one of maybe 4 or 5 riders. There's no dispute in this one. There's no need to go to race direction. Trastevere is the winner and got the best lap as well. It's still saying provisional race results under review. I wonder if that's because of what's going on further back, although in theory, Tom, it shouldn't affect the final 4.
No, it should not. It will, as you say, Steve, not affect the final 4, but it will affect, I'm sure, the pride for their for the competitors. I'm sure they will like to finish ahead of their respective riders. But nonetheless, a thrilling semi-final 2 here at the MotoGP eSport Championship, and we now have our top 8 finalists, which we'll run you through in a few moments' time. But before that, Steve, some key moments from the race, just whilst we wait to get the final classification of results. Well, we saw Trastevere absolutely doing exactly what he needed to do in that one.
Yeah, despite the fact, and we'll see when we look at the highlights shortly, on pole position, made a bit of a mess of turn 1, to be quite honest. Got pushed slightly wide, out on the curbs, moved back a bit, so a little bit of early pressure for Trastevere on pole position. That said, came through with flying colours and managed to get themselves up there. Paul IG will be absolutely delighted as well. A feisty race, leading most of the time.
Exactly, yeah, and of course we had 2 Italians on the rostrum. We'll talk about that a bit later on because we're going to bring you some highlights then of semi-final number 2. So let's have a look then, shall we, at some key moments from the race. So the start is where things look like they all changed because Trastevere unfortunately failed to get away very well indeed. As they headed down to the first corner, it was Paul IG who had the advantage into turn number 1, and he managed to hold on to it as well. However, later on in the lap we saw Matero 1 making some ground. There was some very, very close racing in the opening stages of the race. There's Steve, positions changing hands left, right and centre.
This was the early stages of the race where Paul IG, number 7, was just in complete control, almost a second ahead of Trastevere, who had fought his way back up into second. At that particular stage, EOT for Rossi was through. Further back here, are we going to see the incident that we're waiting for? Rider fell there on the grass, unfortunately.
That was Nierik.
Yeah. There's not really an awful lot to discuss or debate about that one. As we now rejoin Paul IG. This is into turn number 2. Now, Paul IG, off camera, definitely made an error somewhere because, of course, he lost his lead.
Exactly, we didn't see what happened. This was the incident that we have not seen and now have seen into turn number 1, Steve. Well, it got a bit close for comfort there between Pistol and Nierik, didn't it, on board that Pramac Ducati. I think Jorge Gasset was also involved as well.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, that. It's a tough one to call. I'm glad that I'm not calling it and we're just calling the races. But you can see here, this is the point, of course, where even Gamer got ahead of EOT for Rossi. And it was pretty much sewn up. What I'm impressed with most, Tom, is that the top 4 didn't do anything too silly on the final lap. Their awareness of where they were, they knew that they were going to be into the final and they're going to be into qualifying. The tactics, of course, for the final race, a completely different situation altogether.
Indeed, there was the race winner, Trastevere, coming over the timing line from Paul IG. Brilliant stuff here in semi-final number 2. So we now have our 8 finalists, as we've said. Some superb riding, and congratulations to all the competitors who have made it through. Commiserations to all those who have unfortunately missed them up, but nonetheless, I'm sure they've had a thrilling time having been here for the MotoGP finale, the final showdown of the season, and of course the finale for the eSport Championship as well.
And we should mention, Tom, that we've mentioned the BMW plenty of times. You know, of course, loyal sponsors to MotoGP in general. What a prize that is! But there are prizes for second and third as well.
Absolutely, and it's not exactly like every day you can say that you drive the same car as Marc Marquez does either, because of course he was the winner of the MotoGP M Award this year for qualifying. Here are the final standings then. Trastaviere takes the win, Paul IG in second, Ivan Gamer in third, Matero in fourth, Iotti Ferrossi in fifth, Nierk in sixth, and then Jorge Gasek in 7th, Pistol 73 in 8th place. It looks like there were some results altered there, Steve.
Yeah, just a few results altered further back. As you rightly mentioned, there's still Pride in place, so a couple of changes that went on, but it did not affect the top 4 overall. So there you can see 6th and 7th. That was the big changes that you can see on the race results there, but nothing affecting the Italian winner overall. Trastaviere from pole position managed to get it. I suppose that when we go into qualifying, it's still going to be all eyes on Mandzukic, because over the 2 semi-finals, Tom, he just seemed to be the most comfortable.
Yeah, he certainly did. He really did have quite a significant advantage, did Mandzukic. And we saw, of course, in free practice when they were doing some longer runs, his race pace was very calm, very consistent. And he's a bit Jorge Lorenzo-esque in a way, isn't he? When he gets out in front, gets a bit of clean track, he's able to pull away. But we know that the likes of Luigi and, of course, the riders from semi-final 2 will be hot on their heels. But here are the riders, then, that are making it through to the grand final. So from semi-final 1, it was Mandzukic, Luigi 48 GP, Timothy McGarden, and Kyron DL49. From semi-final 2, the race we just had, Trastaviere, Paul IG, Ivan Gamer, and Matero. Brilliant stuff. So some fantastic racing, plethora of nationalities making it through to the grand final as well. And of course, as Steve said just a few moments ago, 3 fantastic prizes up for grabs. The winner will of course be awarded with a BMW M240i machine. The second place finisher will be the winner of a KTM RT390 motorcycle. The third place finisher will win a Samsung Smart Television. So absolutely brilliant stuff.
Okay, Ben and Amy, back to you.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, Tom. 2 semi-finals done, and now we know who will go into the final stage of our inaugural eSport MotoGP Championship for 2017. Before we get to the racing side of things, we'll have qualifying, and before we do that, we've got a couple of special guests for you.
We do indeed. Well, whilst our finalists take a moment to regroup themselves ahead of qualifying, Ben, we're going to head to another video. This is what happened when our 2 protagonists from this year's Moto3 World Championship went head-to-head, or rather, thumb-to-thumb.
Ehi, ciao Romano, ti sto aspettando.
Dai, giochiamo?
Dai, come stai? Bene? Sì, non male.
Via.
Desde la pole, come sempre. Mamma mia, Livio la moto non è... come possibile? Madonna mia, hai preso la penalità?
Subito.
No, non può essere questo,
Perché? Tanto io ho la penalità, quindi...
Arriva Bastianini.
Funziona la scia?
Sì, penso di sì. Attenzione perché mi parte. Attenzione perché... Ha finito il gioco.
andato via ormai. Porca trota. Niente. È andato lungo. Ehi! No!
Grazie Livio. Chi ha vinto alla fine?
Bastianini.
Io penso che prendo un po' di penalità. 16 secondi. No, però... Bene.
Facciamo un'altra.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the stage then the 2017 Moto3 World Champion, Juan Mir.
Joanne, lovely to have you. Lovely to have you join us here this evening. Joanne, you saw off Romano for the Moto3 World title. What happened up there?
Well, not fair play on the game.
Is that what it was all about?
Yeah.
Now listen, you obviously won the Moto3 World Championship in Phillip Island. How were the celebrations when you got back here to Europe?
Well, it's really special, the feeling that I have at the moment to come back here in Valencia as a world champion. It's something that I never been, so I'm rookie like this. So really happy and enjoying the moment.
Well, you're probably the best person out here this evening to advise our finalists. Have you got any last-minute tips for them?
Well, I can give tips on the real, but not here. They are so good.
Your gaming skills weren't that up to scratch, were they really?
No, not like in the real, no.
Well, it's always lovely to talk to you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining us out here tonight, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, and good luck for the people. Bye.
Fantastic to have some of our real-life racers in the audience and backstage this evening. And there is some amazing prizes, obviously, to be won if you're a world champion in MotoGP, Moto2 or 3, but also if you're an eSport champion. Tom's already mentioned the prizes. They are absolutely epic, and you have the lowdown.
I do indeed. So our third place finisher here this evening will be winning a fabulous smart TV. Our runner-up will be riding away on a brand new KTM 390 Duke. But our grand finale, our grand winner here this evening, as we can see down here to the right of the stage, will be driving away with that fabulous BMW M240i Coupe. And that is not all. All three of our finalists will be heading to Red Bull's Hangar 7 for a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
And of course, if you're 16 years old, then you have to give it to your dad for a couple of years anyway, and then you can have it when you pass your driving test. Fingers crossed that someone wins who's 17 or 18 years old. Otherwise, Dad's going to be very, very happy indeed. We've got partners throughout the whole of the event, and thank you very much to all of their involvement. One such is Movistar. Valentino and Maverick are actually commentating on this for Movistar. And also, Maverick gave us a little bit of a guide and his experience of the Valencia circuit. Some last-minute tips for our competitors.
Start the lap. Sixth gear, full gas. Braking, going down to third gear in the first corner. Hard brake going to. Then we shift up second, third. We go back to second. Here we continue with second, trying to keep speed corner. Here second. I went up. Here fifth in the straight, and then go back 3 gears and go back to second. All this is in second. I shift down to first. good acceleration, second, third. Here is important to do speed corner with third gear, change up to fourth, making slide the bike on the real, not on the game. Second gear and full throttle to the straight. 30.1. Can you beat him?
They already have by about 5 seconds. But good effort. Anyway, Maverick, very good effort. So it's time to get those expert gamers out onto the stage. The finalists for this year's eSport World Championship. And our first finalist is... ...18 years old, from Spain, riding Yamaha, it's Mandzukic.
Well, let's find out who finalist number 2 is. 18 years old, from Italy, on the Suzuki X-Star. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Luigi.
And now our third finalist. 19 years old, the only German in the final, riding a Suzuki. It's Timothy McGarden.
And our fourth finalist this evening. "23 years of age, from South Africa, riding the Aspar Ducati, it's Kieran.
And now, our fifth finalist. "19 years old, from Italy, riding Movistar Yamaha. It's Trastiavere.
And our seventh finalist tonight, let's find out who it is. Paul, all the way from Spain. Please come and make your way to your pod. Let's hear it for Paul.
And the penultimate finalist this evening, finalist number 7. The youngest of our competitors, at just 16 years of age, from Italy, the man with the gloves, it's Ivan Gamer.
And our final finalist here this evening. It's Matero, 24, from Spain, riding the Ducati.
So there we go. 8 finalists, 3 from Spain, 3 from Italy, a South African and a German. Before we get to the racing action, another chance for these guys to qualify and get the pole position. It hasn't been that important, to be fair, but a 10-minute session coming up, qualifying for Stephen Top.
Thank you very much there, Ben and Amy. Well, 10 minutes has never been so important, Steve. What we've seen, of course, in semi-final 1 and semi-final 2, both riders who qualified at pole position took the race victories. We rest automatically through, as did the rest of the top 4. But it's going to be crunch time now for the grand final. Yeah,
turn 1 is so tricky to get right. That, you know, you're looking at the gamers here, they're all thinking about their tactics. For now, they've just got to concentrate on a different type of mentality. They've got to try and keep smooth. There's no race tactics involved in qualifying. They've got to try and stay within track limits, because if they go beyond track limits, their time will be cancelled.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's a very, very important point you make there, Steve. Track limits are hugely important in the race. They're hugely important, though, in qualifying. And, of course, it really will count. We should mention the fastest lap that we have seen around this Valencia circuit so far throughout the entirety of this event is a 1:25.320. That came courtesy of Mandzukic, who was in group number 1 in the first semi-final. So if he's able to beat that lap time, if they were able to get around that sort of lap time figure, we should be set for a very interesting qualifying session.
Yeah, the best of the best. It comes down to this, 8 people going for the BMW. It really is pretty tense stuff. As you rightly point out, qualifying hugely important. You want to be on the front row, really. Ideally, it's going to be first, second or third. That doesn't mean that you're not going to win it, because all of these guys have got here through merit. There is Mandzukic that you're looking at on screen right now, looking pretty focused, a bit of a poker face going on. We just saw Even Gamer there a moment ago. He's got his gloves on ready as well. I'm going to start calling him the mime artist, I think, going into this one. There's Trusty Vieri then, just getting himself all prepared, ready for this qualifying session.
Crack the knuckles, stretch the fingers and all of that. It's important stuff.
Same as what we're doing here in the commentary box, ready to bring you this next session. So, yeah, different types of focus going on. As we've said before, this is so different to just getting on a PlayStation, playing in your lounge. This is really, really big stuff. And of course, it's worth pointing out at this stage, if there's people at home watching thinking, well, I want a piece of that, we'll be back here next year and you will be able to qualify for this, and there'll be bigger and better prizes, I'm sure, on offer.
Absolutely right. We should mention the grand prize, which you can now see on screen, is that thing there, a BMW M240i worth up to £50,000. That's not a bad thing to go away from a trip to Valencia with, is it?
No, some of them insure to drive it, some of them not, but we'll see how that one pans out by the end of this final. Of course, qualifying coming up first. Important to point out as well, they don't get in each other's way when it comes to qualifying. They actually get the circuit to themselves, so they really can focus on what they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a very, very crucial 10-minute shootout for these riders, as we said. There is Luigi 48GP, that brilliant comeback he made in semi-final number 1. Hopefully he won't have to do a similar sort of thing in semi-final 2, and he'll be starting a bit further up the order. We can see the audience here in Valencia watching on in our auditorium. And they are looking very ready, as are we, to get to qualifying underway. It's going to be a very exciting affair indeed.
Yeah, all of these guys now getting prepared. There's so many people here, of course, for the actual MotoGP finale that is going on. We know that there are a lot of people watching from the paddock. I believe that Valentino and Maverick are tuning in as well, so they're intrigued to see who ends up going home with that BMW. There's a KTM RC390, I believe, as another prize as well, Tom.
Absolutely right, and a Samsung Smart TV. Hey, I mean, we'd be happy to go away with one of those, hey, wouldn't we? It's a very, very exciting time indeed. I have to say, the chap we were just looking at on screen, Paul IG, he's a dead ringer for Jonas Folger with that cap on, isn't he?
It does look a bit like him, actually, yeah. And of course, sporting the same colour scheme as well.
Absolutely. You see, it all comes full circle. Maybe that's why, hey. So the qualifying session, as we said, a 10-minute session. The actual grand final race will be exactly the same format as we had, as we now look at the action on screen. We say the grand final race will be a 10-lap race distance for these riders to contend with. So exactly the same as both semi-finals, but of course it will count for a lot more, especially the top 3 positions. So here's Mandzukic over the line to start his first flying lap of the day. As we mentioned, his qualifying time is a 1:25.320. Will he be able to repeat that feat here in qualifying? Well, we know how hard he likes to push the front end on that bike, and he is especially quick in that third sector.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out here, you can see the time screen section and the table and the tower on the left-hand side, and you'll see 4 boxes underneath the names, Tom. That is, of course, the sector times. Now, if they go red, then it's the quickest of anyone. Orange is personal best. It's just like what we see normally on the telly when we are watching MotoGP for real. So at the moment, of course, they're all setting the red sectors because they're waiting for them to go round for their first flying lap. Now, if they do exceed track limits in qualifying, then their lap times will disappear.
However, also we should mention if they fall off, they will get automatically reset to turn number 11 and get the chance to redo their lap. It doesn't put you back at the same point on track because, of course, if there's another rider perhaps, say they fall off at turn 2, for example, there's another rider coming around, it could cause some friction and potential incidents and ruin 2 people's lap as opposed to 1. So we'll have to wait and see what the banker lap times they're getting set in. We did a dummy qualifying session on Thursday, and it was interesting to see how quick people were over the course of 1 lap and how similar the lap times actually were to the semi-final qualifying as well. Here comes Mandzukic. He's going to be the first rider to set a representative lap time, and already there, Steve, a 1 minute 25.454.
Well, yeah, that's only just over a tenth slower than the fastest time we've seen all weekend so far, so that is pretty rapid. Let's get Luigi 48GP over the line, see what he's got on offer. 2/10 slower than Mandzukic at this stage.
Yeah, exactly right there, Steve. So it's going to be interesting to see what he is able to do at this stage. He's just run off there, so he's going to go for a reset and at turn 11 get himself back out on the track and go for another run. I think he realised he'd overcooked that first corner a bit.
Mandzukic is on a fast one again in Sector 1. We're now looking at Ivan Gamer, so number 90.
Absolutely right, Ivan Gamer with the gloves on board the Red Bull KTM Factory Racing RC16 livery, and he is just coming through the final corner now, turn number 15. You can hear the bike screaming away. Of course, the KTM at the early points in the season when this game was released had a Screamer-styled engine, which is why it makes a slightly different sound to what we are used to, and he got himself up into 3rd place, but half a second off the pace of Mandzukic.
10 minutes will fly by for these guys because they're obviously concentrating, and just like real life really, it's important to get a banker lap in. Try and get a lap in at least, because you could quite easily actually fluff every single lap, end up at the back of the grid. So get a banker lap in first and then try and chip away at it and see where you end up. We've only got so far, Tom, 4 riders that have set times as Timothy McGarden from Germany moves up into 3rd place and on the front row of the grid.
Are we going to see something similar to Moto3 where they all set fast lap times right at the very end of the session?
You never know. It could happen. There's a few riders, competitors, sorry, that are on fast laps. We're with Ivan Gamer again here. So number 90. Personal best Sector 2, that's the orange box that you can see, and we'll be lighting up Sector 3 shortly, just trying to make sure that every line is absolutely precise. Still no one able to get close at present to Mandzukic's pole time at 25.454.
Well, Trasiviere was on a very quick lap as well. He's currently in 6th position, set fastest 1st and 2nd sectors. The 3rd sector, he set a personal best, so he's dropped a bit of time in comparison to Mandzukic. But what will he be able to do? We'll keep an eye on him, but first we look at Ivan Gamer getting ready to come over the timing line. What will he be able to do on the KTM? And he is in 3rd place, improves in time, but doesn't improve in position there, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Trasiviere goes up into 2nd place, 500ths, I should say, of a second off the ultimate pace, Steve. Brilliant.
There seems to be a problem in the top left there for Mandzukic. Don't know if he's just run off circuit. 1 or 2 riders having a few issues here. We've still only got 5 of the 8 finalists that have set times, and look what's happening with the time remaining. We are almost halfway through this qualifying session. They really want to pull their finger out at this particular stage.
I have to say one thing that's very interesting to note as well, we can see the gamers on the left and right sides of your screen, is the controller stance. Where are they holding the controller in relation? Some are holding it further away, some are holding it a bit closer to them. Of course, it's a matter of personal preference. Likewise, some are holding it down below, some are holding it up high. Here, though, is Kyron DL49 over the timing line, the South African, who snuck through, and he has got some good pace there, Steve. Just 0.3 of a second adrift in 4th place, heading the 2nd row.
4/10 now covering the top 7, Tom. Only 1 rider so far yet to set a time, and that is the competitor that you're looking at here, Matero 1, number 27, on a personal best lap. Just got the final corner to deal with, and with this lap, fingers crossed, Matero 1 should post his first lap time with just over 4 minutes to go. Yes, he does, and immediately is competitive up into 4th place.
Brilliant stuff. Well, we should see the lap times coming down, I'm sure, over the next few minutes. Here's Paul IG on board the Tech 3 Yamaha. What can he do? Well, at the moment, he's down in 7th place, penultimate position on the grid for him. He's got some work to do, but he is still just 0.3 of a second adrift. However, Timothy McGarden is on a personal best lap. The Suzuki rider, we look at him and we ride on board with him now. Over the timing line goes the German, and he goes up into all the way of 4th position. Brilliant stuff. Meanwhile, Steve, fastest first sectors coming in for the man in 2nd place, Trastevere, and the man in 6th, Kyron DL49.
Yeah, Kyron's kept himself pretty quiet so far, and we're now riding on board with Kyron, that front tyre view, and you're watching the suspension in action as well. So Kyron going through Sector 2, lost a bit of time on Mandzukic, but still on a personal best. Of course, Kyron here at the moment will be looking to try and get himself onto the front row. Still lots of time for this to change. Just over 3 minutes left. You can get more than a few laps around this short Valencia circuit with that.
I have to say, one of the things that I've noticed that is incredibly fascinating to see is that even Mandzukic hasn't been able to beat Mandzukic. He's still not improved on his best lap time from the start of the session.
Doesn't need to at the moment. He's currently on pole position, but these things could change. Luigi 48 GP is on the charge and up in both Sector 1 and Sector 2. For now, we're tracking number 49, Kyron. This lap is going away from Kyron, and we might just see a change shortly. Luigi's lost a bit of time, Tom, though, in Sector 3.
Yeah, personal best for the Italian on board the Suzuki X-Star machine. We ride on board now with just 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the session remaining into turn 15. The difficult left-hander getting ready to blast it onto the start-finish straight. Accelerate up to over 300 kilometers an hour. Over the line we go, Luigi 48 GP. Does he improve? Well, in time, but not in position, crucially, Steve.
No, unfortunately not. For now, I don't think Luigi will be too upset with a couple of minutes left. It doesn't look like, at times, Mandzukic is even playing the game up in the top left corner. Quite content, set the lap time, I'll sit back and I'll see what unfolds. Ivan Gamer comes across the line, still in 5th place at the moment, and Kyron, who's dropped all the way down, Tom, to 8th place, lighting up sectors 1 and 2.
We've seen this though as well. I think Mandzukic's 3rd sector though is so strong that we won't see him going fastest overall, but we could well see him troubling the scorers on the front row of the grid. However, there's just 1/10 of a second separating those guys. Through the right-hander we go, then into the long banking left. It tightens, it tightens, it tightens, and you go downhill as well and have to brake. It's a difficult corner, but Kyron DL not having too many problems. He has lost a bit of time in that crucial 3rd sector. Over the line we go with the Pulamere Aspar rider. The South African goes up into 3rd position, front row.
There is now exactly a 1/4 of a second covering the 8 finalists. That is a mouth-watering prospect ahead of the final 10-lap race that will be coming up. But there's still a minute left in this qualifying session for it all to change, and someone's gone down the road there in the background.
That was Timothy McGarden. It was, yeah, Timothy McGarden who crashed out down the road. Ivan Gamer, though, meanwhile, on board the KTM machine. Where is he currently? Well, he's down in 6th place, but you can see from the red helmets on your screen, 2 red, 1 yellow, orange rather, I should say. So, personal best for him. Out of the final corner we go. Over the timing line in just a couple of moments' time. 35 seconds, so he'll get one more flying lap. Does he improve? Again, in time, Steve, but the gaps are so tight, the margins are so tight that he just doesn't improve the position.
No, it's all changing, isn't it? We now ride with Matero, number 27. Again, it's Sector 3 that they're all seeming, they just can't quite match Mandzukic through that Sector 3. So that time that was set, what, the very first flying lap of the session, still holds pole position. Anybody that goes across the line after Matero here, who's actually going to just sneak one more lap in, will take the checkered flag.
Could be a crucial lap there for the Spaniard as well. Let's go wait and see what he's got in his arsenal. Here comes Paul IG. This will be his final flying lap. It was a personal best 3rd sector. Does he improve? No. He will start 7th quickest, 2/10 of a second adrift. I can barely believe I'm saying 2/10 of a second adrift, and he will start on row 3.
That's not over yet, though. There are 3 different riders on flying laps. One of them's been cancelled, I think, because of exceeding track limit. Ivan Gamer, though, who we ride with now, is on a flyer. 6th place at present. Again, Sector 3, a personal best, but not able to compete with Mandzukic. The checkered flag is out. Mandzukic Trastivieri and Matero 1, as it stands, will be your front row for the eSports final. Is that about to change?
Keep an eye out for this man. I was just about to say, Ivan Gamer is looking very, very quick indeed. Over the timeline we go. And he doesn't improve. I don't believe it. It all went away from him in the final sector.
No, that's it. Mandzukic, who was our winner in semi-final 1, is going to be on pole position.
Don't say that just yet, Steve. There's a fastest third sector coming in from Matero. He's not done anything in the first couple of sectors, though, but he is quickest overall in Sector 3. I don't think this will trouble the scorers too much. It may just move him one position ahead of Trastivieri. Oh, no, maybe not. He's pulled a wheelie instead.
Showboating across the line, but content to take the front row, I'm sure. Matero there third. So the first flying lap that we saw from Mandzukic, he's nailed pole. I think, Tom, we can safely say he is firm favourite going into the final.
Absolutely. 2.5 tenths covering the top 8. All of the grand finalists here for the MotoGP eSport World Championship. A 10-lap race, don't forget, coming up in a few moments' time, where we will crown the inaugural eSport MotoGP World Champion of 2017. But there is the man who will start on pole position after an emphatic qualifying session. Mandzukic from Spain heads the grid after the qualifying session, Steve.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the 18-year-old from the Canary Islands, and I'm sure he's looking forward to it. He's been in charge all the way through now then, Tom. Qualifying, fastest, won the semi-final heat 1 by a country mile. It wasn't exactly clear in the qualifying session that we just saw there, but I think the pressure might just be ramping up here. Would we dare say it's his to lose?
Well, it would be rude to not guess that, really, given his form as of late. I have to say, the thing that impressed me most of all from Mandzukic in that qualifying session was the fact that he set that lap time on his very first lap and then didn't improve for the remainder of the session. I can't remember the last time I saw that in MotoGP. It doesn't happen very often in any of the other classes either. It generally, setting your first banker lap time, it will be improved on, but Mandzukic was such a strong competitor out of the box that it really did work very well indeed for him, and he will line up on pole position for the grand final. Other notable mentions in qualifying as well. Kyron DL, he had something of a quiet qualifying session up until he ended up bursting onto the scene out of nowhere right at the very end.
Yeah, well, there's a quarter of a second covering the top 8, Tom. I mean, this is really going to be interesting. We're going to have a look at some of the highlights from that qualifying session. I don't think you really need to look much further than the first flying lap because it was Mandzukic that did all the work at 25.4. This was with 10 seconds remaining, and you could see there a bit of a change late on, further down, a bit of movement there, and heavy braking from Trastivieri, who couldn't manage to get in second. Worth pointing out, as we're watching the highlights here as well, Tom, that there's going to be a bit of a prize there for the pole man as well.
Absolutely right there, Steve. Yeah, at the moment at this stage in the race, Mandzukic was just about to come over the line and set his first flying lap, and that was the lap that decided qualifying for the Spaniard. Incredible scenes here in the MotoGP eSport World Championship. I never thought I'd see that the rider who started on pole position was his first banker lap, but there we are, prepared to be surprised and happy to be surprised as well. So some brilliant stuff here in the MotoGP eSport qualifying session. Loads and loads of stuff to come for you as well. But the grand final race is coming up in a few moments' time. In the meantime, let's throw back down to Ben and Amy.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you very much, Tom. That really is a message for the rest, isn't it? One lap, bang it in, do your time, and you can't even beat yourself for the rest of the session. And thanks to our partner Tissot, we're able to mirror exactly what we do in MotoGP and award a brand new watch to our pole man. And to do so, we have a very special guest hobbling onto the stage. Please welcome Thomas Luthi, everyone. Thank you very much for coming on stage, Thomas.
And if I can now ask our poleman here this evening, Mandzukic, to please join us here and come and meet Tom to collect your Tissot watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, your poleman. And there, a brand new Tissot watch.
Well, thank you, Thomas, for joining us. We'll see you soon, really, really soon, we hope. And many congratulations to our poleman, Mandzukic. So Ben, what do you have for us?
Well, as these guys get themselves set up for the final, just a couple of moments away, we've got a bit of resetting to do. It's interesting that as this game gets better and better every year, more and more realistic every year, we're seeing more and more MotoGP riders and part of the real-life paddock using it to learn new circuits. We go to Thailand next year, and in 2019 we've got Finland. So they are learning the tracks using this game because it's so realistic. And in fact, we managed to find them doing just that.
Losing the front.
Ma come curva.
Fermo dietro come...
Wow, che difficile.
Poi va.
No, così.
Ma io voglio un disco.
Fermo ne 30 con uno, guarda.
No, non mi dà, non mi può dare
Il mio amico Gabiano.
Fantastic stuff. This game is absolutely fantastic. If you don't have your copy, make sure you go down and buy MotoGP 17. It's in stores right now. We are at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. We have a full house of audience members waiting to watch the final here with all the riders, the top 8 qualifiers now in qualifying order, and Amy has the man who is second fastest, Travestieri.
Yes, Ben, I am with sorry about that, Travestieri, also known as Lolo. You've just missed out on pole position, but how are you feeling ahead of tonight's final? It's all to do out there.
But the feeling is good, but the race will very difficult. And I think that Mandzukic is very fast, but all very fast, and speriamo bene.
Well, listen, you enjoy it out there. One last thing to do now. You're edging ever so close to the grand prize. Best of luck. And I think that means it's about time to head down to our commentators this evening for the race we've all been waiting for. Steve, Tom, it's back to you.
"16 riders started today, 8 are left on the grid, and 3 riders will win prizes, but only 1 can become the inaugural MotoGP eSport World Champion. And what a qualifying session we had. What an evening of racing we have had over the course of the last couple of hours. My name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me for the final is Steve Day. And Steve, we've had some thrilling racing, as I said, in the semi-finals, but now it's crunch time. Now is where it matters.
I'll switch myself on. Yeah, we are getting ready now as Mandzukic will line up on pole position. The tension is really going to rise now because different tactics were in place in semi-final 1 and 2. All you had to do was get yourself in the top 4 positions out of 8 to get through to the final. It sounds easy enough on paper, it was very difficult, but now it's all guns blazing. There's a quarter of a second covering, 8 guys all fighting for a BMW. I can guarantee you that these guys, when they've been playing at home, have never fought for anything quite like this before.
The tension, the adrenaline will be pumping. We are looking forward to this incredibly. The thing that really interests me most of all from the qualifying session, Steve, is that Mandzukic qualified on pole position for semi-final 1. Travestieri qualified on pole for semi-final 2. Both of those riders took victory in those respective races and they head the grid. So those are really the guys to watch out for.
Yeah, you'd have to say that, but I think there could be 1 or 2 riders that are willing to take a risk or 2 as well. They'll all know what their rough pace is on a lap-by-lap basis. Most of them will know whether or not they're capable of beating Mandzukic. you're going to see something rather interesting, I think, coming up here. If Race Direction don't get involved in this one, I'll be really, really surprised.
Well, the gloves are on, not off for Ivan Gamer, and he is primed and ready. The headphones go on, the concentration levels go up.
Yeah, well, he'll be hoping he's the man with the golden gloves at the end of this one, won't he?
Where do you get these from?
From crackers, Tom, mainly. There is Mandzukic then, the competitor from Spain, Luigi 48GP. Don't count the 18-year-old Italian out from Naples, because we've seen in the build-up to this weekend that he's definitely capable in the Suzuki colours of causing an upset.
Yeah, over race distance especially, he is going to be very, very quick indeed, and we could see him being a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons, as it were. Visualising we are, though, for Paul IG. He's having a very nice time here, by the looks of things, and is getting ready to get underway for the grand final.
Yeah, we just saw there Timothy McGarden as well, our only rider in the final from Germany. Preparing. They've all got their own different methods, haven't they, to get themselves in the zone, ready to fight here. It will be 10 laps as well, Tom, so it's the same as what we saw in semi-final 1 and semi-final 2. So it's the same amount of time. Mandzukic is the man to beat. He is on pole position, and remember what he did in semi-final 1. His tactics were going into turn 1, not necessarily last on the brakes, but definitely smooth through the corner.
That's the crucial thing as well. Do you opt to go late on the brakes? Do you go deep into the corner? What do you opt to get a better line on exit? It could pay dividends, and it could potentially be one of the deciding factors of this very race. The tension is rising. Ducati are here and watching on as well. Nice to see the lads from Bologna are over here and watching us for the eSport Grand Finale. Who are you, if you had to put any money, I know you're a bit of a betting man, Steve. If you had to place any money, who would you be going for?
I'm not a betting man, Tom. I don't really know. I think it's very difficult at this moment to look any further than Mandzukic. It would be foolish to bet anywhere else. But to be honest with you, I'm keeping my money firmly in my pocket for this one. A quarter of a second lap times, covering 8 guys going for a car at the end of it. I wouldn't put it past there being someone in 5th or 6th place saying, do you know what, I'm going to throw caution to wind on the last lap, and it's a do-or-die move up the inside into turn number 14. Mandzukic is definitely the one with the pressure on his shoulders. The good thing for Mandzukic is that he's got a Tissot watch, so whatever happens, at least he's going home with a prize.
Well, absolutely, and let's not forget, of course, the 8 finalists that have made it through will all be going to Red Bull Hangar 7 as well, a Michelin-style restaurant, a couple of bars, various Formula 1 cars and planes and the like as well. Not a bad experience to have, even after their VIP weekend here in Valencia.
No, not at all, and if they want to be joined by commentators, they're more than welcome to invite us along to that one.
Absolutely, a Michelin-star restaurant sounds nice enough to me. So the finalists, you can see they're all in their gaming pods. They're all waiting, the nervous foot tapping on the floor. The tension is rising, the pressure is building, and it's all going to come down to the next 10 laps of this grand finale. Final preparations are now just taking place, and we're getting ready to get this race underway very shortly indeed. We'll run you through the grid as soon as we get into the final race, and we're set for a very exciting event, and with those prizes on offer as well, it could be make or break time. Especially, the thing is as well, I want to mention the first few laps could be crucial in this race. It could end up going the way of the first few laps. There's a bit of contact, somebody goes down, and then somebody else could romp away, or we could end up seeing a battle to the last corner, which is what we're hoping to see.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a neutral perspective, that's what we want, going all the way to the line, and we want to be crowning our very first MotoGP eSport champion. As you can see here, the grid lining up, Mandzukic on pole, Tom, and the rest of them all getting ready. We are just seconds away from the final, the 10 laps coming up for the MotoGP eSport Championship. It's the grand final with number 2, Mandzukic on pole.
Let's get ready then to get the lights to go out. 10 laps of the circuit. Ricardo Tormo here. We're getting ready to crown our inaugural eSport MotoGP World Champion in just 10 laps time. Let's get ready to go out. Lights go out and we go racing. A brilliant start on the outside of the front row from Matero, but it is Mandzukic, the poleman, who gets a crucial drag down towards turn 1. Trastevere left on the inside and nowhere to use its drive, Steve.
Yeah, the whole shot there for Mandzukic. That could not have been a better start. It's absolutely perfect for him. Trastivieri up into second place immediately. Paul IG, number 7, into third. And then it's Luigi, 48GP, in fourth.
Where's Matero gone? He was third into the first corner. He's now down in 7th place, Steve. Something's gone really wrong for him in the first couple of corners there. Timothy McGarda, meanwhile, has made some serious ground on board that Suzuki. He made his way up into 4th position. Brilliant stuff there. Matero now has managed to get his way back up by the looks of things into 4th position. But Mandzukic leading the way. Paul IG, though, is up into 2nd place ahead of Trastivieri, but he's run on. He's gone too deep. He's into the gravel almost at the first corner. And Luigi 48GP also getting caught up in that. That could have been a lot nastier than that.
Yeah, that looked like a 10-pin bowling move there, going into turn number 8. A little audacious, to say the least. Mandzukic with a clear track, though. How crucial could that be? Because we saw in semi-final 1, he roared away from the pack. He's got Trastivieri in second. Worth pointing out that during the qualifying build-up and the free practice, who were the fastest two? Mandzukic and Trastivieri. They're currently 1 and 2.
Both of them official Yamaha riders. Somebody's down. That's Luigi 48GP, who's binned it at the final corner. A big shame there for the Italian. We mentioned he could be a dark horse in this race. Unfortunately, the only dark he's seeing is the black tarmac that he managed to grace just a couple of moments ago. So he is now out of contention.
We have got 2 contestants here that are in movie star colours, with Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi watching on. It's like real life here. Mandzukic at the moment, well, he's still out front. He's managing the gap, but it's about a quarter of a second. And I'll tell you what, fair play to Trastivieri here, Tom. He is holding his own.
We go on board with Timothy McGarden on board the Suzuki. He's having a bit of a sneaky look up the inside of Matero. Will he manage to get it done? We can't quite see from this angle as he goes into the left-hander. Looking very nice indeed from Timothy McGarden. Let's not forget the top 3 will all be subject to the prizes we mentioned over the course of the build-up for this race. But nonetheless, all 8 finalists will be able to go to the Red Bull Hangar 7, and a warning coming through there, Steve, as well.
Oh, there's going to be more than a few warnings. There's number 27 there, Matero 1, letting off the brakes again. Another risky move. It's just worth pointing out in the early stages of this one, we're only on lap 2 of 10, Tom. And the guys that are from 3rd down, Paul IG onwards, are 1.2 seconds adrift. So as it stands, it's a straight fight here for the championship between Mandzukic, who you're looking at there, and Trastivieri. As they go across the line, the gap is now down to 2/10.
Another warning from Matero. He exceeded track limits, and I think he was slightly aggressive. Oh, slightly, he's putting it quite lightly into turn number 11. He was trying to bite off a bit more than he could chew. Meanwhile, Timothy McGarden, Ivan Gamer is going up the order and changing positions with Matero. Matero's now up into 4th position. I was just mentioning Timothy McGarden. He's now down in 7th place as well, so he's lost out massively here. Unfortunately, 7 laps remain here at the circuit, Ricardo Tormo. At the moment, it's Mandzukic, but Steve, he's not putting any daylight, really, between himself and Trastivieri.
Well, he's just found a 10th or 2 there in Sector 1. I'll remind you at this point, if you're just tuning in for the first time, despite the fact that you've got movie star coloured bikes in 1st and 2nd, they are all identical machines. The colours and the team choices are the only things that we can really identify them by, and the numbers, but they're all absolutely identical.
Indeed they are. Trastivieri, the 58 he's riding with. He's 18 years old, from Italy. He's still a student. The man in 2nd place we're riding with now. The man in the lead of the race, though, of Mandzukic, well, he is doing an absolutely brilliant job. Leading the way is the Spanish rider. He's 18 years old, from Las Palmas in Spain, also a student as well. His favourite rider is Danny Pedrosa, believe it or not. Meanwhile, they're getting very close indeed.
Trastivieri's had a brilliant Sector 4 here, and it's into the slipstream now with Mandzukic. Mandzukic is about to be challenged for the first time here in the final, and we do have a change for the lead into turn 1. Trastivieri, number 58, leads then, and it's getting a bit tasty on the exit of turn 1.
Look at the state of this. This is absolutely brilliant racing. Mandzukic gives it as good as he gets. We've got an investigation underway between Kyron DL and Luigi 48GP for an incident there. I wonder whether that's the one we saw on screen or whether there's another incident, and that's what caused Luigi to go down the road. Either way, time will tell on that one, but focusing on the here and now, the battle for thirds, as you can see on your screen, still between Mandzukic and Trastivieri. There's 6 laps remaining, well, 5.5 really now, and it's going to come down to the last corner, I'm sure, of the last lap if it stays up the way it is.
Mandzukic, the firm favourite, leading, but Trastivieri, who we ride on board with, has had a stunning finale here, and he's saved the best till last. trying to reel in again. This is an interesting test now for Mandzukic, who so far hadn't been shown a front wheel for the entire evening. There you can see all of our gamers either side there of the big screen. This is the battle you're looking at for first and second. Mandzukic's lead is what, just a couple of bike lengths ahead of Trastivieri.
I tell you what, Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales, who are watching on, are going to be grinning from ear to see the two Movistar Yamahas out in the front of the race. We come over the timing line to reach the halfway stage. So with half the race done, there is still half the race left to go. Of course, it's Mandzukic, and the slipstream now is going to be changing the lead, because up the inside goes Trastivieri into turn one. Will we see Mandzukic fighting back? No. Trastivieri's traction and his drive through the corner was absolutely brilliant. So superior. Going for the out-in line is Mandzukic now in second place. We ride on board with the Spaniard through the left-hander of turn 3 and turn 4, but that was timed to perfection.
Yeah, this is getting a bit hot under the colour now for Mandzukic. Firm favourite, he'll be aware of that, but Trastivieri has brought his A game. This is another step that he's taken for the final, and Trastivieri is so quick, Tom, in that final sector. Going around turns 12, 13, 14 onto the home straight is where he seems to be making up the time. And I tell you what, here, he's not only got out front, but he's starting to get away from Mandzukic here, who we ride with in second.
Both riders 18 years of age. Into the left we go, then into the right of turn number 11. Mandzukic doing a brilliant job to try and claw that gap back. It's 0.3 of a second. It was on the last split, but surely that is going to be coming down. It is indeed down to under 0.3 now. So the slipstream is still, I'm sure, going to take effect when we go on to the start-finish straight. But is he going to close up, or is that gap going to increase? Because Trastivieri is incredibly strong in that final sector.
We can't lose sight here of the first two. We might not be seeing much of the rest of the bunch at the moment, but we don't want to. We want to focus on this. How intriguing is it that they're both in Movistar Yamaha colours? One's from Italy, one's from Spain. Sound familiar?
It certainly does, doesn't it? Trastivieri leading the way on board that number 58 at the moment into the first corner. Brilliant stuff as well for Paul IG. We haven't mentioned much of him. He's had something of a quiet race, but he's got a few tenths of a second advantage over Ivan Gamer. In fourth position has the Spaniard, and he is currently in line for that Samsung Smart TV. Was that a bit wide there for Trastivieri? Looks like he was just a bit hot into turn 4.
Trastivieri's in the zone at the moment. The 18-year-old has got an ace card up his sleeve here. This has been a brilliant ride. The first person to really put Mandzukic to the test, and Mandzukic is going to have to pull all of his best pole position laps together at once here in the closing stages. Trastivieri, the number 58 out front, 18-year-old, favourite circuit Mugello, favourite rider Rossi, and he is at the moment beating Mandzukic, the 18-year-old from the Canary Islands, whose favourite rider is Pedrosa. Using all of the curb there as well is Mandzukic, as you just see there at the bottom of the screen. Tom, an update about the incident between a number of different riders.
I think that's a separate incident to the one we saw earlier involving Kyron and Luigi. However, it's Matero also involved now as well, so there could be a plethora of penalties coming the way of the riders involved. We'll have to wait and see what race direction decide. I'm sure we will find out after the race is done. Over the timing line now, into the latter stages of the race. Here the crowd going wild. 0.3 of a second was the gap between the top two. Trastivieri leads the way. Mandzukic in second place. A couple of tenths is all they will need going on to that final lap. And look at the beautiful camera work we've got here, looking back from Trastivieri's machine. The Italian leading the way at the moment for Movistar Yamaha, doing a brilliant job. Paul IG is in third place. He looks like he's got the better of Ivan Gamer in fourth position. Meanwhile, great job also from Matero and Timothy McGarden.
I just wonder what sort of lap times Trastivieri's putting in here, because he really is starting to pull away from Mandzukic in certain sectors on this circuit. Mandzukic is going to have the final 3 laps of his life here. There's a BMW on offer to the winner, and at the moment it's going the way of the 18-year-old Italian, who starts to pull away, Tom. It's almost 0.7 of a second now.
Mandzukic made a big mistake going into turn number 9. He needed a ticket to get back in from that one. He missed the apex by a country mile as we ride on board with the man in third place, Paul IG, the Spaniard, riding on board with the number 7. We are 26 years old, from Bilbao in Spain. His favourite rider is Valentino Rossi. His favourite track is Motorland Aragon, which is the exact same circuit that he made it through to the final. And now he's here in the grand final event with Ivan Gamer breathing down his neck.
Yeah, don't forget there are prizes for the contestant that finishes in third as well. And across the line we go. Ivan Gamer, the contestant with the gloves, still trying to get through.
Race direction, 5-second penalty given to Matero, 1 due to irresponsible riding. So that is going to upset the apple cart massively. The best he can hope for in terms of finishing is down in 7th place unless something dramatic happens on the last few laps. But at the moment, Matero, even if he got himself up into the podium position, would not finish there in the final results of the race.
No, the only thing is, Tom, is that his time penalty would be added at the end of the race, so he can still play quite a big part in deciding who finishes where. Back to the front we go. It's still Trastivieri that has a 7/10 of a second lead over Mandzukic. We're on lap 8 of 10, and when we cross the line next, it will be the penultimate lap of the race. As it stands, we could be in for a little bit of an upset.
Yeah, we certainly could be. We all have Mandzukic as the favourite to win, given his form going into this round especially. And Trastivieri has certainly shown that he can mix it amongst the best and is at the moment sitting in the pound seats to become the inaugural eSport MotoGP World Champion. Into the left-hander we go with that number 58, and he's got a 7/10 of a second advantage over Mandzukic. That gap has stayed exactly the same over the course of the lap as well.
You heard earlier on Amy talking to Trastivieri, and he said that Mandzukic was the biggest challenger. Across the line we go, still three-quarters of a second, splitting first and second. So 2 laps left. Mandzukic there with a bit of a wobble on the front end has got it all to do if he wants to become the MotoGP eSport champion.
That gap looked like it had closed up big time there, Steve. This is a replay, and that's Paul IG who's gone down from 3rd place. We didn't see that because we were too focused on what's happening out in front, but Paul IG goes down the road, he hits the inside curb, and good night Vienna it is for the Spaniard, unfortunately.
Yeah, he is able to rejoin, but unfortunately, chances of a podium are gone. So that means Ivan Gamer now is in line to take the final podium place. Meanwhile, out front, the gap has opened up again. It's over 8/10 of a second now.
Indeed it is, with just under a lap and a half remaining. At the moment, it's looking like we'll have an Italian for the first ever MotoGP eSport World Champion, but don't count your chickens just yet. Anything can happen in motorsport, and of course, it usually does. Through the right-hander we go, riding the curb with Trastivieri. The 18-year-old is doing a brilliant job.
Oh, there's a bit of a mistake there from Trastivieri, Tom. The gap's come down to half a second. Now, let's just take a couple of things into consideration here. We're about to enter the final lap. He's only 18. This is for a BMW. This is it. The final lap begins now. How are the nerves, Trastivieri?
Absolutely right. This could be a crucial final lap here for the inaugural MotoGP eSport World Championship. Into the first corner we go. It's Trastivieri with a 6/10 of a second advantage. Mandzukic, he's got it all to do. He's going to try and pressure Trastivieri into a mistake as we go into turn number 2. Brilliant stuff. Mandzukic, though, is a bit wide on corner entry there. This is what he doesn't need. He needs to be perfect, inch perfect, no mistakes.
6/10 in it at the moment. You're looking at the leader and the potential winner of the eSports World Championship final, number 58, Trastivieri. There's no doubt about it. Mandzukic is definitely closing in a few sectors, but it's now all down to Trastivieri. Can he keep his composure?
Hugely quick in that second sector is Mandzukic. Will Trastivieri be able to hold on, though? At the moment, it looks like it's going to be, but Timothy McGarden, meanwhile, Steve, has got himself up into 3rd place now as well. So the German rider is going to be on the podium at this rate and be taking home that Samsung Smart TV. We go into the right-hander. There's just 3 corners remaining after this one, Steve, and it looks like he's just going to have enough.
It's Trastivieri's to lose here. It's all down to this then. We'll flick right, change direction left. No more mistakes for Trastivieri, and he is going to be the champion.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. He's ridden to perfection. Mandzukic, try as he might, there was just nothing he could do. But regardless, over the timing line we go to take the checkered flag. Trastivieri becomes the inaugural MotoGP eSport World Champion of 2017. And there are tears of joy on the face of the 18-year-old from Rome. Oh my goodness me.
He can barely believe it. What brilliant scenes there, as you can see the emotions now as he's done it. 15,000 people entered this competition. There is one winner, and it is the 18-year-old. Brilliant stuff. And against all odds, he comes out victorious.
And the team of his family is celebrating down as well, just below the stage. Absolutely incredible stuff. What a brilliant scene, what a brilliant sight here in the MotoGP eSport World Championship. Commiserations, well, we should say commiserations, well done to Mandzukic as well. A brilliant effort from him, but Trasti Vieira, well, look at that. He is absolutely ecstatic, and quite rightly so. He is the winner of a brand new BMW M42i. Final results there, Steve, subject to any post-race penalties. Trasti Vieira takes the win from Mandzukic, who also in turn set the fastest lap. Ivan Gamer finishes in 3rd place on the podium. Timothy McGarden in 4th. Luigi 48GP in 5th. Paul IG in 6th. Matero 7th. And Kyron DL 49 in 8th place. Provisional race results though, Steve, under review.
Yeah, they've got to be confirmed, but I don't think there's any drama for Trasti Vieira there. If you're sitting over there listening, take a good look at that BMW. It is yours. That is your prize. You have won it. It was a brilliant race. You have to feel sorry for Mandzukic. He's been absolutely impeccable throughout qualifying, of course winning first semi-final. He does not go home empty-handed. A Tissot watch, courtesy of getting pole position, and of course, he'll pick up another prize as well, Tom.
A KTM RC390 bike. I don't think he'll be too upset with that one, will he? Absolutely brilliant stuff. And of course, the 3rd place finisher as well in the form of Ivan Gamer will take home a Samsung Smart Television. Wow, what a race. I've just about got on my breath back. My voice has been going since the start of this broadcast, Steve, and I think it's well and truly rogered now.
Well, do you know what the really interesting thing about this is that what does the actual MotoGP game cost to buy? We're going to have a look at the highlights. What is it, 30 or 40 quid? And you could end up with a 50 grand BMW.
Not bad at all, is it? Away from the line, it was Mandzukic who was on pole position, but a brilliant start initially from Matero 1. Didn't pay off for him. He had the inside line, but braked a little bit too early, and Trasti Vieira held on to 2nd place. Then he got shuffled out wide as Mandzukic held on to the lead of the race. A brilliant start it was from the Spanish rider. However, Trasti Vieira was all over the rear wheel of the Movistar Yamaha. Meanwhile, Paul IG came into play as well. The Spanish rider on board the Monster Yamaha Tech 3 machine. This is on the opening lap, but then ran it too hot, and that was his race run, I'm afraid to say. Or at least it was in terms of the race victory. However, this was the incident at the final corner that took Luigi out. It was Kyron DL on the outside. Looks like it was just a bit of a racing incident there on a first glance, at least. However, the lead changed on lap 4, Steve, with Trasti Vieira getting in front.
Yeah, this was the first time that Mandzukic had seen any competition. He fought back immediately, so that was battle 1 done. But the next time they meet, unfortunately, Mandzukic not able to get there. This is Paul IG, who was, at this particular time, in 3rd place overall.
Indeed he was. Here is the battle, though, for the lead. Once again, that slipstream down the start-finish straight and into turn 1 paid dividends as Trasti Vieira went into the first corner ahead of Mandzukic and held his line, held his nerve. However, Mandzukic tried to fight back just a couple of corners later. Didn't have the pace, however, unfortunately, to hold on to the back of him. Meanwhile, we ride on board with the man in 2nd place. You can see the gap increased a couple of laps later. Meanwhile, Paul IG was still in 3rd place at this point. It did go wrong for him, though, unfortunately, in the latter stages of the race. He clipped the inside curve, which we'll see in a few moments' time. To the left-hander we go, though, meanwhile, and still he was holding on to 3rd place on board the Monster Yamaha Tech 3 machine. Here, though, is Luigi 48GP, and that's Kyron DL, who went down the road. We didn't see that on screen at the time. So, a bit of a torrid race for both Luigi and Kyron, unfortunately.
Yeah, ended up as quite a tasty scrap, didn't it, for 3rd? We didn't really get to see much of it because our eyes were focused on what was happening further ahead. This is the moment Ivan Gamer managed to go through. And Matero, in the closing stages, bearing in mind he picks up a 5-second penalty, let's not forget, did get himself really involved in how 3rd place was decided.
Certainly did. Into the left-hander we went. That was Matero's downfall, though. He clipped the inside of Ivan Gamer, went down the road. Meanwhile, Timothy McGarden sprung out of nowhere. A very quiet race for the German rider. However, here is the final corner, and it was Trasti Vieira who managed to hold his nerve on that final lap. Didn't relent to the pressure, came over the line to take the checkered flag, and in turn become the MotoGP eSport World Champion of 2017. I don't think he can quite believe it.
I don't think that's going to sink in just yet until Amy takes him down to the BMW. So let's have a look then at the final standings for the first ever MotoGP eSport World Championship. Confirmation then that the winner is Trasti Vieira there ahead of Mandzukic. Ivan Gamer there takes the final podium place with his gloves. 3rd place for him ahead of German Timothy McGarden.
Brilliant stuff. Luigi 48GP finishes in 5th place. Paul IG in 6th. Kyron DL 49 in 7th. And Matero _1 is in 8th position. That is the final confirmed result for the MotoGP eSport World Championship Grand Finale. So that is it then in terms of us here from the commentary box. Alongside me has been Steve Day. I have been Tom Brooks. Thank you so much for your company up here in the commentary box, as we said, for the course of the last couple of hours. But now it's time to hand back down to Amy and Ben.
Oh, that was absolutely brilliant. They've kept us entertained all night long. It would only be fitting to have all of our finalists join us here on the stage. So firstly, if I can ask our finalists to please come forward. Congratulations, guys. You all did an absolutely fantastic job. And then if we can also welcome back onto the stage our semi-finalists to join us all here out on the stage. They can't believe it that much. They're still sitting down.
Come on, guys.
Come on down.
And the first chance for them all to congratulate each other, because they've become great friends over the last couple of days. Great rivals, but great friends. They're the first 8.
And if we ask also our semi-finalists, they didn't make it to the finals, but they all put on a fantastic performance. Now join us also here on the stage. Here they come. Come and join us, guys. Congratulations, you did a fantastic job out there.
Yeah, let's not forget, they're still the 16 of the best out of 15,000 competitors that began this process 4 months ago. So there are 16 of the best eSports racers in MotoGP 17. And it has been an amazing event, and it's only fitting to get the boss of Dorna Sports up onto the stage to create the podium ceremony. So please welcome onto the stage the CEO of Dorna Sports, Carmelo Espeleta.
Well, Carmelo, that was the inaugural MotoGP eSport Championship. It was thrilling. And so I want to know, what were your impressions?
Well, good afternoon to everybody. Really, it's amazing. For me, it's the first time I'm watching something like that, and really it's something fantastic. I congratulate all the people who come here, and of course I congratulate the winner. The race has been really fantastic, and I think it's the first step with something who will be very important for us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmelo. If you can stay with us now here for the awards ceremony, which I think we're about ready for, Ben.
Absolutely. Let's get the podium underway then. I'd like to introduce and bring up the first 3 onto the podium, please, then. Your top 3, ladies and gentlemen. Italy and Spain represented. And some epic prizes. So, firstly, we'll begin with the prize for 3rd position. And that's, Carmelo, the 3rd position driver, Ivan Gamer. And Carmelo will present a trophy and a podium cap as well. The 2nd position gamer is Mandzukic. Mandzukic, the only Spanish representative on the podium, and has been absolutely fantastic all week. And the winner of the inaugural eSport World Championship for MotoGP, it is Travessieri. A podium cap and the trophy. Raise it above your head. Fantastic stuff.
Travessieri, many congratulations to you, sir. Lolo, can I ask you to come and join me here, please, now? Lolo, if you'd like to come and join me, I want to have a chat with you. We have to speak to you. Oh. Okay, we'll speak in English. You can do it in English. I know you can, Lolo. We've been speaking in English all weekend long. That was absolutely unbelievable. Firstly, how does it feel to be crowned the very first MotoGP eSport champion?
Yes, my feeling is very good, and it is a difficult race because Mandzukic is very fast, but my feeling is very beautiful, and I'm very fast. Unbelievable.
There are no words. I'll say it for you. There are no words. Well, Lolo, your feeling is going to get even more beautiful in just a moment because we are going to ask you to make your way down. But firstly, before we do that, Carmelo, thank you so much for joining us here on the stage. That was, ladies and gentlemen, the very first MotoGP eSport champion. Trados, you are our champion. Congratulations to you. Please make your way down to your brand new car. Go on. Go and see your new car.
Thanks. I want to say thanks at my family that were here. My friends, gamer, that I play them every day. And at all. Thanks. And a MotoGP eSport that give me this opportunity. Fantastic.
Oh, you're very welcome. We thoroughly enjoyed having you there. If Trados makes his way down now to the BMW M240i Coupe, where our BMW representative, Axel Mittler, head of corporation MotoGP at BMW M Division, is there to hand over the keys.
Yeah, the emotion is flowing now. Fantastic to see. Got to work out how to unlock it. Well, there we go. We're going to leave the winner, our champion, enjoying his BMW. He really cannot believe it, can he? There we go then, the celebrations can begin. What a fantastic evening of entertainment we've had here at the Circuit Ricardo Como in Valencia. Congratulations not only to our winner, but to all of our gamers this evening. They have done an amazing job just to get here and entertained us all. Thank you very much to our partners, to the production team, and we'll see you again next year, and make sure you get racing on MotoGP 17. It's a fantastic game, and maybe you'll be on stage with us in 2018. Bye-bye for now.